I wanted to make a video analysing a more average run instead of a top run to show what decisions that I consider as a non-top player during an RSG run. My mechanical skill is fairly average, so I try to focus on making good decisions to save as much time as possible. In this run, I will highlight where I think I have made a good decision and where I think I've made bad decisions and what I should have done instead to improve. My aim for this video is to show players looking to lower their RSG times to maybe a sub 12 or even lower the impact that decision making and good fundamentals can have, as the gameplay is nothing exceptional, but the decision making allows for the run to be fairly fast in the end. While there are a lot of analysis videos on former world records or top runs, there is relatively little for these kind of runs, which I think can be very useful to bridge the gap between top runners and newer runners. If you find this video informative or helpful, please let me know in the comments and I'll make this a series. If you have any questions about the video, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer them. Without further ado, let's get into the run. So we start off with an island spawn. Nothing special here, just looking for the buried treasure. One thing to keep in mind whilst looking for the buried treasure is to keep an eye out for kelp or ravines that you may see. It might not be easy to on 50 entity distance, but I will raise the entity distance and then I will scan some more to find ravines. So I change my perspective here to look behind me. I'm looking for ravines or kelp. Can't see any here, so I continue forward, get the trees here. Now here I can hear lava underneath me, so I'm thinking maybe this lava pool underneath. We can get in the nether that way. But in the end, it turns out to not matter as it's not a lava pool, it's just a single source block. So I have to find some kelp or a ravine. Now I did spot some kelp this direction before I blew up the TNT. And that allows me to sort of head towards the right direction ahead of time, save a little bit of time that way. I grab an extra log here. It doesn't really cost me much time to do, but it's more of a safety thing in case I need extra wood for explosives, or if I need to craft any extra boats if they break or anything like that. So we find the ravine and we just make our portal into the nether. When we enter the nether, we see we've got a close bastion spike, but then there's also another bastion spike a little bit later. So when I'm scanning, I see two bastion spikes in two different directions. So what I do here is I lower my render. Because I knew one entity spike was so much closer than the other, I lower my distance to 12 chunks, and that makes one of them disappear, so I know the closer bastion is this direction. So I run this way. I also noticed as I entered the nether that my pie chart was showing a spawner, so I know that there's a fortress, well, I know there's a fortress or a treasure, most likely a fortress to be found. Here I see that there's a big gap here in the direction I want to go. I could bridge across, but I think my mechanical skill isn't faster than me just running around the edge, so I decided to run around the edge. This also has the added benefit of me being able to look around and scan for a fort, as the nether's quite exposed terrain-wise, which I wouldn't be able to do if I was bridging across. So I can see from here that the housing is the bastion is a housing, so I'm thinking about what route I'm going to do. In this case it would be manhunt as I'm entering from the bottom. Fairly simple. So here we're just making sure we have enough blocks on our hotbar and gold on our hotbar, so that when we enter the bastion we're not scrambling for gold to distract the pigs, and we're not scrambling for blocks if we run out during the route. Just making sure to set myself up as best I can. We wide macro and we see the fort off to the left, so we know which way to leave the bastion from. And what I do here is I see this chest on the way in, so I just quickly beeline to it, hope that I'll get a piece of gold armor. And what that will do is allow me to make sure that when I'm setting up the manhunt route, that I'm as safe as I can be. So I set up the route here. I don't think I do it quite correctly because I end up not getting very many pigs on this route. I throw some distraction gold before I break the chest so that when I do break the chest I'm not going to get immediately hit into lava. I throw the extra gold there because I thought that one of the pigs there wasn't going to pick up what I'd thrown earlier, so I thought I was going to be attacked, but in the end he grabbed something out of the chest as I broke it, so let's do the manhunt route. But here we see we only have one pig. So what I have to do here is I have to mine these 2 gold blocks up here in the hopes that I'll be able to aggro more pigs from the upper part of the bastion. What I'm also thinking is because I've only got 5 obsidian from the manhunt chest and the bottom chest, that I'll need to go up to the top of the bastion to get more obsidian. So I'm thinking I can throw a pearl hang while I'm at the top and then I can come back down for my trades. So I set the pigs trading here and then I'll run up to the top, grab any obsidian that I can find up there and then set a pearl hang and come check my trades afterwards. Because I've only got 5 or 6 pigs here, that play is the correct play. As I'm waiting for trades at the bottom before going to the top would take way too much time. So here I just wait for a pearl trade so I can go to the top. There it is, there's another pearl trade there, but we get a pearl trade, which means we can go to the top and send a pearl hang. This will save us from having to traverse up to the top of the bastion a second time when we want to leave. I get a little bit disoriented as I forgot which direction the fort was. When I saw the bastion I thought it was oriented a slightly different way than when I went in. But I spot it with the wide macro, I throw the pearl, lower my render distance, track the pigs with some spare armor bits, then I run down to check my trades. I get my axe out ready to hit the skeleton there, but he doesn't see me, so I decide to leave him. And then here I spend way too long trying to sort my inventory out, not very efficient with it. This is one of the biggest parts of this run that loses me time. So I could leave now, I've got everything I need. But I don't throw out everything quick enough, so I'm low in that regard. But here I've only got 1 spare fire res, so I have to play very safe in the fort. So I look off to the left here, let me go back a bit. As I approach this ledge, I look off to the left here and think maybe I can throw a pearl that way and then throw another pearl across to the fort. I think it is just slightly too far out. What I should have done instead is throw a pearl to this basalt pillar, which would allow me to throw another pearl to this sort of outcrop here, and then I'd be in a perfect spot to throw a pearl onto the fort from there. So I think that would have saved me a good 20 seconds or so if that went off. Maybe 15 seconds. But instead I get stuck in the lava, and then I have to get to the top of the lava to see where to throw my next pearl, where I could be in the fort by now already. So we enter the fort. I should lower my render distance here, as the fort is over a lava lake. But I know that there's a spawner fairly close, so I decided to play for the spawner. Probably would have been faster trying to go for some strays additionally here. but it's hard to tell. So we play the spawner. We see where the second spawner is behind. We might not be able to stay at the bit rate, but it is just there. We don't have any more. So we pearl to the second spawner. We have no more food, so we know that we have to death reset, hunger reset in the overworld. We only have one more fire res here, so we have to play as close to the fire res deadline as possible. Otherwise we might run out. We want to get our blaze bed off quickly, we want to get our platform built quickly, and we want to build our pre-crafts and our portal quickly. That way we can get our hunger reset off and get the second fire res going when we need it. Here I start trying to sort out my inventory, but the blazes spawn, so I prioritise killing the blazes first, as killing the blazes is the most important thing at the spawner. So here we start to clear inventory a bit, we start to get our pre-crafts off, slightly slower than I would like. So here, I don't know if you saw that, but I have enough glowstone to activate one anchor. If I only crafted one anchor, I'd have excess glowstone. So what I do here is I make 2 anchors, as I can only explode 1 anyway. But if I happen to find more glowstone on my way to coordinates, it saves me from having to craft another anchor, and just basically means I can maybe get another explosive. In this case it doesn't really matter too much because I have 6 beds. The rates aren't too good. Our fire res is running out, so we're going to prepare our death reset in the overworld. We'll measure our eyes. So here the first eye goes inside a tree, so we have to remeasure over here. But what that means is we don't see whether the eye drops or if the eye breaks. So here I decide to leave the eyes, not pick them up, save the amount of time it would to get that, and hope that I get blaze rods instead. So I set up my hunger reset here. Get the fire res ready, and so we need 2 more rods instead of 1, but I think it saves time overall this way. As I re-enter, my hotbar is wrong because of the death reset. So my eyes should be on the 9 slot and I should have pearls on my 8 slot. And this causes me to lose a little bit of time in a minute. So when I'm trying to find my way to the coordinates here, I want to throw a pearl here and end up over on this part of the fort. But what I end up doing is seeing that I've got eyes instead. So I have to drop down here to get away from the skeleton, sort out my inventory, and then I pearl over there. Now I missed the first block clutch, so I'm way lower on the fortress than I'd like to be. And instead of building up, I decide what I'm going to do is I'm going to pillar across, and then I'm just going to pearl across the lava lake. Because I know it's a massive lava lake, there's nothing in the way. And I know that I can make it in 2 or 3 pearls if I just pearl across the lava lake. So that I commit to doing that. It's probably slower than if I'd got the pearl to the top of the fort and threw it from there. But because I made a mistake with the block clutch, I think this is a way of making up that time rather than climbing back up to the top of the fort. Another bit of small time loss this run is bad inventory management, not knowing where my obsidian and my fire charges are within my inventory. Normally I like to keep them in the top left of the inventory, but in this run I didn't manage that, and it lost me a couple of seconds across the whole run. Here we do our preemptive. We like the spike forwards, we don't like the spike behind, so we send it down mid. We saw the spike was very, very forwards and not off to the side, so we just send it down mid again. Do a quick death reset. And then into the end, open and could be a fairly easy 0. Nothing too much to worry about here. Leave a bread just to make sure we have enough health in case we need to bail out. We need to throw a pearl down. But in the end, we just go for a nice 3+2. And that's the run. If you found this run helpful, please leave a like or comment, let me know. If there's anything else you want to know from this run, any questions, again, please let me know. If you want to see more of this, let me know. And if there's anything you think I can improve, again, please let me know. I'm glad to hear all the feedback.